how is Crawford going to be able to bridge this weight gap?
Yeah, I don't think he can, in all honesty. I mean, he might not be able to bridge it on Saturday.
Yeah.
So
one weight class.
68, yeah, but you're coming up from 35, 35, 40, 47, 54. Sooner or later, it's one too many. And 68 is definitely too many. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, he's a genius. He's a generational great. So maybe he can find a way to do it. But I feel he'd be hugely outsized against Canelo.
What do you think of Crawford Canelo? There's a lot of talk about that.
I think Canelo wipes the floor with him. I love Crawford. I told you when Crawford and Spence that Crawford would beat the hell out of him. But Canelo is a different proposition. It's an interesting fight. But I think this
weight he could defy the odds because he's a generational great. But if I had to kind of put my money on it, I'd put my money on Canelo Alvarez to win via a stoppage.
Okay. All right. Well, man,
the huge clash between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez is just 2 months away, and already insiders are split. While Crawford's moving up to weight classes to challenge one of boxing's biggest names, many believe he's walking into a disaster. Hamza Shiraz boldly predicted a stoppage win for Canelo, saying, "Weight classes exist for a reason."
Will be too much for his body to handle.
Canelo's a bigger guy. He should win by size. But for you, how does that fight play out?
I think Canelo does win by knockout. I think he does win by knockout. And that's only because of the weight. You can't jump up from 54 to 68 fighting the best, even though you're the best yourself. It's too much of a weight jump, man. But listen, you never know. You can't write off Crawford, but I think Canelo will knock him out.
Crawford isn't young, turns 38 in September, and he's been cheap.
He believes the jump will take too much out of Crawford's body. Shiraz pointed to Crawford's fight against Israel Madrimov, where despite throwing over 150 more punches, but only landed 11 more than his opponent, mentally, Crawford was rattled. He said, "Canelo's a big dude, powerful. He knows how to use his size."
Last 1 or 2 months, obviously, and this fight is potentially even more relevant to you because of the weight class. The Canelo Crawford fight. How do you see that fight potentially going? Is that something you, in the corner of your mind, maybe like, down the road?
I see my kind of perspective on that fight is, I feel like number one, there's a weight class for reasons. And I feel like if we're basing it off.
But Shiraz also acknowledged Crawford's next level skills and didn't rule out the upset entirely. He's a rare talent. He might just pull it off. Still, Shiraz says, if he had to bet, he'd bet on a Canelo stoppage. He sees Crawford adopting the William Skull survival blueprint, move all 12 rounds and avoid damage, but doubts it'll be enough. Eddie Hearn joined the conversation, throwing shade at Crawford's resume. "Who's your best win?" He asked Crawford directly. When Bud answered Ricky Burns, Hearn replied, "That's your biggest win." Yet, he admitted that Crawford could beat any great, he just never got the right fights. Despite that, Hearn confessed he's not counting Crawford out. After watching Canelo's lackluster performance against...
Canelo had the better performance, I believe, even though he had a negative fight in front of him. And I feel like Crawford struggled a little bit with Madrimov's physicality. It was very physical, and I feel like he struggled a little bit with it. And then you got to remember, Canelo's a big dude. He's a big dude. He's strong. He knows how to use his size. But then at the same time, at that level, you can't write off fighters like Crawford because he's so skillful. So him going up 2 weights, he could defy the odds.
150 to punches compared to Skull's to 193. He admitted Crawford might be fresher. "I really bet against Canelo," Hearn said, "but I wouldn't be shocked at all if Crawford wins." Canelo's coach Eddie Reynoso, on the other hand, made it clear a knockout is coming. "We're going to win by knockout," he told East News. He praised Crawford as a complete fighter, but promised fans would see a different Canelo on fight night. When critics mentioned Canelo's low output against Skull,
Alvarez.
But you have to use your movement if you're Terence Crawford in that fight. The last thing you want to do is stand and trade. He'd be moving a lot in that fight, trust me. I'm not saying he'd be running, but he would be moving a lot. Of course, that's the way to beat him.
Yeah.
You know.
Noso brushed it off and said September would be a different kind of fight. Jeff Mayweather agrees with the movement-based strategy. Stay at range. Don't go to war. He advised. Crawford, trainer Derek Bosey Ennis echoed that, saying if Crawford frustrates Canelo and controls the tempo, he could pull off the upset. British legend Carl Frock added that Crawford is already outgrowing his old weight class and might surprise everyone at 168.
I go back and forwards, to be honest with you. Like, when I talk to Bud, kind of like he convinces me that he's going to win the fight because he's such a believer in his own ability and he's very convincing. And then you see the presser yesterday, and I thought Canelo looked really well. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, he's a big lump, so I was always Canelo. Then I sort of leant towards Bud, but now I'm back with Canelo. So we'll see.
First of all, Eddie, happy birthday to your dad. Was his birthday this week? Now, big fight September. Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing against Crawford. What's your prediction?
Lo vamos a ganar por nocaut.
What round?
En el que sea, pero lo vamos a noquear esta vez.
Frock confidently picked Crawford to win. Frock didn't hold back on Canelo either. He's past his prime. Looked flat in that last fight. He's had over 60 fights, made millions. What's he still doing in the ring? Frock believes this fight could blow up in Canelo's face and calls Crawford a monster with an unshakable mindset. Tony Bellew, another respected voice, also leaned toward Bud.
What round did he say?
Whatever round, but they're gonna win by knockout.
Crawford's a good fighter, a great fighter, but Canelo the best.
Es un tremendo peleador. Crawford es un gran boxeador, muy completo, pero ese día van a ver otro Canelo.
He's a great fighter. Crawford's a great fighter, but that day he's facing Canelo.
That is true. Thank you, Eddie. Congratulations on the big win. Undisputed again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Old.
He has passed his best. He's had over 60 fights. Made a fortune. Why is he even still fighting? But this is a super fight against Crawford. But it could go wrong for him. He could end up losing. Whoever loses, it'll be an upset because the amount of people that think Crawford's going to win. Crawford's certainly an unbelievable bad boy fighter, proper good fighter. Then you've got Canelo who just understands the game.
Canelo likes to fight on his terms, but Crawford won't let that happen. I think Crawford will outwork him and win on points. But Bellew added that if Canelo pulls off the win, he'll give him full credit because no one solved Crawford yet, even Bob Arum, who used to laugh at the idea of Bud. Bating Canelo has changed his tune. I think Crawford wins a wide decision, maybe even a KO.
You're in my weight division now, super middleweight. How do you think me, you, prime Carl Frock, prime Canelo?
I don't know. We need to see.
No, we don't need to see. What do you think?
Wait, we will. No, I think could be a good fight. A good fight, yeah.
12 rounds.
Yeah, 12
points.
Rounds, yeah.
Split decision.
Maybe, yeah. We don't know. We're never gonna know, but
we'll never know.
We can say it will be a good fight.
Canelo likes to wait. It has to be all at Canelo's rate and pace. Right. He's not going to get that way with Terence Crawford. I just think Terence Crawford will outwork him, will pot shot him, and I think he'll win on points. And by the way, if I'm wrong and Canelo does defeat Terence Crawford and is the first man to beat him, he deserves so much credit.
He pointed out that Canelo has slipped since Mayweather schooled him, and said Bud's ambidexterity could confuse and overwhelm Canelo. Odds makers opened with Crawford as a slight underdog, but Hearn is starting to lean toward Bud. He questioned Canelo's motivation during the skull fight and said Crawford's confidence might be the difference. Hearn now sees the matchup as 50-50 and says the only fight bigger would be Crawford versus Bose Ennis. According to Hearn, that fight might never happen.
There's only one winner.
What fight would make the most? He wipes the floor with him.
What?
Is it because of the weight difference?
Because Canelo, Canelo is used to fighting at a particular level, and and I don't think that Terence can hurt Canelo, but Canelo can hurt him.
And just lastly, Bob, I believe you've talked about it in some other interviews, but I just wanted to get Canelo Crawford. What are your thoughts on that fight? Who do you think wins?
I like Crawford in that fight.
Why is that?
I think Crawford is is the better talent. I think he's a better athlete and a better boxer. And I just think he's going to win that fight. But it's a terrific fight.
Did something change your mind along?
Win or lose, I think Crawford retires after the Canelo fight. He said he's 37. 38, he's done it all. The face-offs have already been tense. In New York, Canelo shoved Crawford. Canelo claimed Turki Alalshik, head of Riyadh season, told Crawford to stir up drama. He tried to walk me back, and I just reacted. Canelo said, I respect everyone, but if you mess with me, it's a different story. Crawford fired back, denying the drama was staged.
Is there a big UFC event? Or I don't know.
UFC event.
In Vegas, yeah.
And then football Sunday.
Football, yeah. So, but for me, I think championship boxing should be on a Saturday night. Always.
Yeah. Eddie, June 14th, you're back at the Garden.
Yes.
Cambodia.
Great fight.
What can we expect on that card? What you lining up for?
So we're going to announce the card this week. There's a huge fight for Andy Cruz on the card. And he's going to be a big statement to put him into a position to fight for the world title. Tito Mercado on the card there as well. Our unbeaten 140 pounder. One of our big heavyweights as well, Alexis Barrier from Canada, Zaquin Moses, Nishant, loads and loads to Pablo as well, King of New York. Tickets are going really well. It's a great fight. By the way, Hitchens is another guy. You know, I know he doesn't have the same profile as Boots and Shakur yet, but he's another brilliant, young, undefeated American fighter. And Kambosos is bringing a lot of energy to that fight. So June 14th would be a big night.
If Hitchens is victorious out there.
Turkey didn't tell me nothing. He said, someone said I was scared, so I stepped up and showed I'm not. When Canelo called out Bud's uncle for saying he was scared, Crawford shot back, I ain't scared of you and you're about to find out. One thing is clear, this is more than just a fight. It's legacy on the line, and as the hype grows, boxing fans everywhere are tuning in for sharp takes and exclusive updates. Stay locked in. Big things are coming.